So, what does it mean for America to dominate Bitcoin and crypto? Today at the 2025 Blockworks Digital Assets Summit, President Donald Trump outlined his America First vision to position the United States as the global leader in cryptocurrency. And his remarks emphasized not just embracing innovation, but also exerting control. And Trump's plan aims to establish the United States as the world's Bitcoin superpower, his words, positioning Bitcoin not just as a decentralized alternative to traditional finance, but as a strategic asset to be accumulated, regulated, and centralized under American authority. Now, Trump's speech outlined several key initiatives: creation of a strategic Bitcoin reserve. This is something that he mentioned in a previous executive order. He proposes building a national stockpile of Bitcoin akin to a gold reserve with the goal of protecting its value long term, having the United States hold long term and using it to manage national debt and economic stability. He also spoke about ending regulatory hostility toward crypto. You may be familiar with, and I testified on the Hill in opposition to Choke Point 2.0, and he's pledged to reverse previous regulatory pressures on crypto companies and to establish clear, favorable rules for stablecoins and crypto market structures. And we see that moving its way through, at least on the stablecoin side, both on the Senate side, the upper chamber, and also the House of Representatives. So definitely stay tuned for more on stablecoins. That leads me to the next point that he talked about: dollar-backed stablecoins as instruments of financial dominance. And so he positioned dollar linked stables as a means to reinforce the dominance of the US dollar in global financial markets. And he also talked about the establishment of a crypto advisory council. He announced the creation of a high powered advisory council to shape crypto policy with industry leaders and political insiders vying for influence. So, this really focuses on going from pure decentralization, when you think about the initial point, the ethos, the spirit of an alternative form of value exchange that didn't rely on governments or centralized entities. So the question is, are we going from decentralization to American control? And Trump's strategy to reflect a fundamental shift in how cryptocurrency is perceived and also positioned. So Bitcoin in its original conception was a rejection of centralized control, a peer to peer system designed to bypass banks and governments and institutional authority. And I think of Satoshi Nakamoto's vision. It's centered on self sovereignty, on borderless transactions, and financial inclusion, particularly for those marginalized by traditional financial systems. And now Trump's proposal to create a Bitcoin reserve and a national advisory council raises questions about whether the government can, quote unquote, dominate a system inherently designed to resist domination. So centralizing Bitcoin under state control could grant the United States government significant influence over market dynamics and potentially transform it from a decentralized asset into a financial instrument of the state. And this shift represents a profound transformation of Bitcoin's ethos from a tool of individual empowerment to an instrument of statecraft. And we have to be honest about reflecting on that so we avoid, as we continue to expand in the industry, that we don't get away from a system that is empowering and inclusive and transparent and accessible to all. So the question is, who benefits from this approach? If the strategy prompts critical questions that we need to answer, they are focused about who stands to gain from this decidedly pro crypto posture from a government point of view, I am all in and decidedly pro crypto to be sure. I have many, many problems and issues with the previous administration's approach to regulation in the space and regulation by enforcement instead of promulgating the rules of the road that the entire industry could use. I know of the incalculable harm to the industry and the fact that, in fact, the United States was farther behind because it thwarted and not just access to investment and opportunity, but also investment into infrastructure, into the market, into the projects and the process of onboarding people, the user interface and the UI, UX, all of that is making it really, really difficult for people outside of the crypto bubble to actually participate and to benefit. And so the question is whether Trump's rhetoric suggests that dominance rather than inclusion is the primary objective. So, National Bitcoin Reserve absolutely could strengthen the US dollar and attract institutional investment. Fan of that. But would it also enhance access for unbanked and underbanked communities, for small businesses, for everyday investors? So keep in mind that nearly 63% of Americans still lack confidence in crypto's safety and reliability, according to a recent Pew survey. And meanwhile, 4.5% of US households, representing nearly 6 million families, remain unbanked, lacking access to basic financial services. And the early promise of crypto was to offer these communities an alternative path to financial participation. And instead, it looks like the focus is on a government controlled reserve and access to participation in advice and consultation around the development that suggests that crypto may be heading toward greater consolidation in the hands of established financial institutions and political elites. In this framework, the benefits of crypto's rise, whether through market growth, stablecoin dominance, state backed reserves, may be concentrated among institutional investors and political insiders. Is that access or control? Trump's plan is framed as a win for innovation and national strength, but the tension is evident. Can Bitcoin remain a tool for financial empowerment if it becomes purely state controlled? If the US builds a Bitcoin reserve, and the United States already holds a lot of Bitcoin through seizures, through government seizures, does that elevate the crypto ecosystem or just create a new class of institutional beneficiaries? Stablecoins tied to the dollar absolutely may reinforce the strength of the US financial system. Think of, the dollar as the global reserve currency, but what implications does this have for decentralized finance, for peer-to-peer payments and financial inclusion? Bitcoin's strength has always been its ability to function outside of pure state control. So bringing it further under federal authority may increase market stability, but it could undermine its role as an alternative to traditional financial structures. So, this is a defining moment for crypto's future. The administration's embrace of Bitcoin signifies a welcomed shift in viewing crypto more favorably and to increase the likelihood of broader adoption, to be clear. But viewing it through the lens of also being a decentralized force to leverage it as a tool of geopolitical strategy, that's the rub. The financial elite's newfound enthusiasm for Bitcoin indicates that the asset class has matured, but at what cost to those who saw it as a pathway to independence and empowerment? The crypto community has long touted Bitcoin as digital gold. I happen to believe that myself. But gold has historically been a state controlled asset used to bolster economic dominance, not a tool of financial liberation. Trump's vision. Trump's vision for Bitcoin may elevate its value, but primarily for those who already positioned within established power structures. The pressing question is whether this new era of government backed crypto will create opportunities for those marginalized by the current financial system or simply reinforce the existing barriers that crypto was originally designed to dismantle, or at least to challenge. So ultimately, the question is not whether America can dominate Bitcoin, it's whether dominance is the appropriate goal at all. Interested in hearing your thoughts? Drop your comment. Be sure to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you soon. Stay confidently crypto.